All right, let's do it live on a Reaction Monday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, right here on 850 ESPN Cleveland. How you doing?
Not great.
Great, Z. How you doing?
Not great. I'm happy to be here with you.
Same.
We have successfully completed 10 days of Pedro Not Pedro. Went off without a hitch. The bar mitzvah Saturday. Bryce crushed it.
Of course.
He was amazing. It was awesome. And I was able to I got down to Miami, no problems in the morning.
It's a win.
And then the problems, unfortunately, started around, can't say 1 o'clock. I'd say much like
1:20-ish?
20-ish, yeah.
Somewhere
When
in
we
there.
were after we were up 7-0, looked
Yeah.
like world beaters, and then they went on a 30-3 run, which is a run that doesn't involve much fun for you, the side of 3.
Usually, it's rare to get a 30-3 run in the National Football League.
Yeah.
It's actually rare even in like men's college basketball to get a 30-3 run.
Sure.
Typically in college football,
You do that.
It's in
Yeah.
play where you get a 30-3 run. Look, this was I thought this was before we knew what would come of Josh Allen. I thought this was the toughest of the 3 games left. But Allen played against Minnesota. You saw the end of that game, how that one went about. So they will not be pleased by the time we play them next week.
No.
This was always the toughest stretch of the schedule.
Yep.
The heavy lifting for this team to play meaningful games when Deshaun Watson came back was in the first quarter of the season, first third of the season.
First 6 games, yeah. You had it, and it was set up for you.
It was set up. It was set up for you nicely. You blew it, boy. You blew it the first 6 games of this season. Go ahead.
First 6 games, you drew Baker Mayfield, Joe Flacco, Week 3, Mitch Trubisky,
Yep.
Week 4, Marcus Mariota, Week 5, Justin Herbert, legit, but they were without Keenan Allen. They were without Bosa.
Yeah.
They were without Rashawn Slater. They were without 3 of their top players.
Yeah.
You drew, and then after that, New England starting Bailey Zappi. A Bailey Zappi. And we went 2-4.
That had to be inverted.
Yes.
So there's a lot to unpack here. The Dolphins are really good. We were disinterested defensively. It seemed you were there. You could paint a better picture. It felt like a pretty all right. Let's go.
I was there.
Deal. They're really good. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they should not have run for 200 yards on us, for God's sake.
Okay. So I was there. I saw it. They did whatever they wanted. And by the way, this shouldn't make any. This is not apologist. This is what they've done 3 games in a row. They've put up more than 30 points.
Yeah.
Tua is now the
with him.
first quarterback in NFL history to have 3 straight games with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 135 or better. It's never happened before.
Yeah.
So they were what they have been. We were worse than what we have been defensively, significantly, our worst performance since the New England game.
That's what it reminded me of. Yeah.
We were offensively, and this is the theme, people are, why weren't you run? We couldn't run the ball.
No.
At all.
No. Through
Through 3 quarters, Nick Chubb had 10 carries for 30 yards. Kareem Hunt had 6 carries for 9 yards. We had 14 carries at the half. So we were running it. We ran the ball at the half. We ran the ball the same number of times as they did, and they had 3 times as many yards. If I'm remembering that correctly from yesterday, and that was the problem. And then in the second half, it felt like after they scored, and they did, and they scored, and they scored, and they scored. I mean, they didn't punt the ball once. The only stop we got, Grant Delpit, Jordan Kunashik made a stop on a 4th down. That was it in the entire game. Otherwise, they scored points every single time they had the ball. I think once they got the ball in the second half, they took it, touchdown, and then they get it back after we get a field goal, and then they scored again, and then that was it. And I think at that point, yes, the wheels fell off a little bit, but they hit you for 10 for 84, 9 plays 55, 7 plays 43, 7 plays 53 touchdown, 6 plays 70 touchdown, 13 plays 77 touchdown, 9 for 55 field goal, and then at the end of the game, a 1 play 20-yard touchdown. They had 2 touchdown runs of 20 yards on which they were not touched. They were not contacted. We had talked about Jeff Wilson being an underrated acquisition for them, and boy, was he. That's a case of Kyle helping out his player. That's a case of also the player and Kyle helping out his buddy, Mike McDaniel.
Yep.
And he made a big impact. We were being blown off the line of scrimmage, and it felt like, and I'll actually be able to pull this up because that's one of the great things you're able to track these days in real time, is it felt like they were not taking contact on average until they were about 4 yards down the field, if that. That's what it felt like.
It felt like it felt like Ohio State against Indiana.
All right, so
right, or Michigan against Maryland. Like, it was so downhill running.
They averaged 6 yards a carry.
Yeah.
They averaged 2 yards a carry after contact. But let's go just to the running backs alone. Raheem Mostert averaged 8.1 yards a carry. He averaged 1.8 yards after contact, so that's 6.3 before he
anybody
was
touched
touched.
him. Yeah.
Wilson was at 7 yards a carry. He averaged 2.6 yards after contact. So cross that out. We're at 4.4 yards a carry before he took contact on 17 runs. So that's on 25 runs. We're talking about between the two of them. They had 60 yards after contact of their 184. That is an outrageous figure in the National Football League. It was reminiscent of what Atlanta did to us. It was reminiscent of what the Chargers did to us. Our defense now is the only defense in the NFL that's given up 30 points 4 times in this season. We've had our bye already.
Mm-hmm.
It was dominant. Tyreek Hill, 5 catches for 44 yards.
I was going to say, if I would have told you Tyreek Hill 5 for 44, Waddle 4 for 66, you say we win.
You'd feel better about it if you step back and said,
go back to last week, last week on Friday when we're
Yeah.
doing this stuff.
Sure.
And I say they're going to combine for 100 yards.
Yeah, which is less than half of their seasonal average,
Right.
which is wild. Tua, they did whatever they wanted. We had no answer for, and I said this during the broadcast yesterday, that wheel motion. So they run a wheel motion to the outside. The outside guy runs a slant, and somebody from the inside, whether it's the back or the tight end on that side or a slot, gets to the flat. And Tua is able to read that. He also has the ability, if we just spread out, to hand the ball off on the inside, which worked very well. We were not prepared, and perhaps there's no way to simulate it. Perhaps there's no way to simulate in practice Tyreek Hill running that wheel or Jalen Waddle running that wheel motion at you and basically having a full-speed running head start when the ball snapped, because we were not ready for it. And Tua did a great job of deciding very quickly, okay, they can't cover all 3 of these guys. Who's the open one? He didn't even need to be throwing at that person. He would step lots of times out to the right and hit the guy on the inside. His anticipation, his ball placement was unbelievable. Again, he's playing like an MVP. I said that, and I still stand by my statement. People are like, how could you say they could still be better with Herbert or Mahomes or anything like that? But what he is doing is elite. He is playing like an elite quarterback in an elite system, and we did not have any answers for it whatsoever. And when teams clog up our ability to run the football as they did, Christian Wilkins looked like he was that Aaron Donald?
Yeah.
I mean, he was so dominant in this game for them up front. We couldn't get any push. We couldn't run the football, and when that happened, we couldn't protect. We really had nothing. Melvin Ingram was dominant. Bradley Chubb was dominant. They were just monsters all against us. We were whooped. It was a butt kicking.
Yeah.
They outclassed us in every single respect. We had a brief moment of hope. Starts off with a nice Jerome Ford kick. Starts off with a nice pass to Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah.
Good play calling. Easy touchdown to Harrison Bryant. Fiend. End. After that, it was just a straight-up beating. It looked like I was playing Bootsy and Madden, and I was the Dolphins, and I'm just going to toy with you, and I'm going to run it just because it's fun to run it sometimes, and I'm going to run my wheel motions, and you're going to be like, but I can't cover all those guys. No, you can't. The Dolphins are really good. Getting Chubb adds – when they were able to go out there in their rushing situations and have Christian Wilkins in the middle, they would rotate either Phillips or Chubb or Ingram inside and have the other 2 on the outside. Like, they're going to be a problem. And that said, you guys are nowhere near where you need to be. And defensively, man, I got to tell you, it is our defensive performance for this season is amongst the most disappointing things, I would say, in the league.
Oh, for sure. Based on the way we were to end last season, the second half of last season, the additions that were – no, you're good. In addition to the franchise coach. Ramble all you want. In the when you get into camp and what it looked like and how dominant we were at times in camp and how we looked, the way our secondary we thought would progress heading into its second full season together, the addition of M.J. Emerson, what that would mean, and he's been great for most of this year. But, yeah, you thought that all of those things would be the case, but we are getting dominated up front. I mean, those stats you gave on the run before contact. That's college stuff, man. That's college stuff. That's lopsided college stuff. Really good team versus bad team college stuff. That cannot happen in the National Football League. Tua Tagovailoa, to me, it's interesting watching him play because I watched this game closer than any other Dolphins game I've watched this season. You saw him in person. I use a phrase a lot, man's got to know his limitations. I feel like Tua Tagovailoa knows his limitations precisely. He knows exactly his arm strength or lack thereof, but he's smart enough to know where his guys are going to be and smart enough to know where he's got to throw it with anticipation to where he's absurdly accurate. I mean, he's 25 of 32. Everything he got in this was easy. They didn't even need anything.
There was like a couple of big-time throws. He made one over Newsom's outstretched hands was an insane
big
ball.
throw, yeah.
But for the most part, the other part, too, is, dude, these guys create so much separation. He threw one ball literally up in the air like when you're a kid and you're playing like three flies. Yeah. He threw it up in the air, and Tyreek Hill caught it. I mean, it was in the air for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, he throws the ball like old Phillip Rivers.
That's that anticipation I'm talking about. Like
nuts.
He's throwing it. Like at one time, it looked like
an
Hill
arc.
is like 20 yards from where he's throwing it.
Yeah.
Because that's like Manning did this towards the end of his career when he didn't have the arm anymore and he had to throw with such anticipation. So while he has very specific physical limitations and they're real from an arm strength standpoint, he overcomes them with his wit and with his understanding of his skills. He understands his skills perfectly. So it's a remarkable thing. For us, it's brutal. It's a brutal spot because you felt like coming off. I thought performances like this were behind us based on what I saw the last two times we played. We played really well against Baltimore. You played good enough to beat Baltimore. You're in that game. It's a mistake at the end that cost you, but you played well. And then you play your best game of the year against Cincinnati. And then you have a bye week. And you think, okay, let's get a little healthy. Completely candid, I did not think we'd beat Miami Sunday. Did not. But I didn't see this coming. I thought we would stack some good performances coming out of the bye, and it went the other way. And that was the thing that I think was really, really disappointing. Much of what we wanted to get done this season, the groundwork for it had to be laid in the first 6 games. And it wasn't, and it's a hole you could not – the schedule is not going to permit you, juxtaposed to the Watson suspension, was not going to allow you to dig yourself out of it. And here's the other thing. Watson coming back is not an elixir for this.
Not for what
he hasn't played in 2 years.
No.
He has not played in 2 years. And so I'm
We'll
sure
be
he'll
better.
be great for sure. And the margin for error will be bigger, but it's still not going to fix all of this. We have some things fundamentally that we fail to do on a week in, week out basis.
Brother, from over the second, third, and fourth quarters, we were outpossessed by this team 2 minutes, 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes. So over 10 minutes in the final 45. That means that they had it for brutal. I mean, that's like 29 to 16, 29, 28, 18, 17. That's basically what it was, 11 minutes, 28, 17. I mean, you can't play football like that.
No.
And part of it is all of a sudden your ability to run the ball is gone. You have to throw the ball. They pin their ears back. I thought our tackles had a rough day with them, which was unfortunate to see. Jack Conklin struggled mightily with some of the speed that was coming off the edge there. It was a bad performance, and there's a million things that you could talk about that were bad in this game for this team, and that is it's rough. It was hard to watch. It was a hard-to-watch game for the Cleveland Browns, and Donovan Peoples-Jones continues to impress me.
He's great.
He does.
Yeah.
But other than that, it doesn't feel like we've taken a big step forward. And I think the hardest part for all of us right now is that our defense, number one, perhaps we underestimated. Let me rephrase that. Last year, we did not put a great deal of resource into the defensive tackle position. Malik Jackson came in as a veteran, understood the game, played very hard for us, and did a great job. And we lucked into Malik McDowell, who was a freak in terms of what he was able to accomplish. We lost them. You needed a step forward from Jordan Elliott. You have not gotten that. Taven Bryan has been a good pass rusher, but certainly has not been what you needed in the run game, but he was there to be more of an up-the-field guy. Tommy Togiai, it feels like, has not progressed in any meaningful sort of way. Whatever's going on with Perrion Winfrey, he's been inactive the last 2 games. We had an undrafted free agent, Roderick Perry, playing in this game, and there was no resistance in the middle of the field whatsoever. And now there have been games where we've done well against a run. We're great against the Bengals. It feels like certain teams, and we have got great game plans for teams we know well. This was unlike anything we did. We did not have an answer for it. It was way too easy for the Miami Dolphins. And this is one that I said at the end, look, this gives you leave this game feeling like, are we for real? I don't know. Like, are we for real? More questions than answers, certainly.
No, we're not, is the answer, because you are what your record is, right? So you're 3-7 now at this, or 3-6 now at this point.
And you've lost to everybody that you would need to have
win.
Beaten.
Right. And you've all of that stuff. So no, we're not. And you're staring down the barrel of Buffalo, who, by the way, you're not going to have any chance of them sleepwalking through anything, because they're not going to be pleased about their operation, the way that they lost a game yesterday to Minnesota,
which was
at
insane.
home, which was absolutely insane. It's impossible. So you'll have their full attention this week in Buffalo. So that's brutal. And then, by the way, the Bucs go over to Germany and they beat Seattle, and so that's the next two games. So it's really hard, but it's what was done in the first half of the season. Now this stuff, it's all coming home to roost now, and defensively, it's very troubling, and there's no solution here based on what you're dealing with. OBM, the official printer partner of your Cleveland Browns. While you depend on the Browns to win, you can always depend on OBM. They can tackle any size office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. Head coach Kevin Stefanski at the podium coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Into a custom bath that'll feel like a spa.
Hey, you're not up.
Oh, Connor said we were up.
No.
Authority can give you the bathroom of your dreams.
Browns Daily.
Still not up.
Zoom.
Bath Authority can give you the bathroom of your dreams. Why not transform your current bathroom into a custom bath for a spa-like experience? Let the Bath Authority make it a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. The Bath Authority is Cleveland's premier bath and shower remodeler, experts and factory-trained installers. Give them a call now. You get $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. That number is 216-220-8399 or go to thebathauthority.com. It's where affordability meets quality, the largest selection of bath projects. They're all made in the United States. Change your bathroom from outdated to outstanding. Acrylic tubs that insulate and keep the heat in. Tub-to-shower conversion, superior products, and expert installers at thebathauthority.com at 216-220-8399. And now here's your head coach, Kevin Stefanski, at the podium.
Like we talked about yesterday,
You're down.
disappointed. Games get away from you in the NFL when you don't perform at your best, especially on the road, especially versus a good football team. And, the game got away towards the end of that first half. They were able to double dip. And then, we just didn't do enough things offensively, defensively, special teams to stay in that game. So ultimately extremely disappointing. We have to play better. We have to coach better. We got to own that one together. But with that, I'll take any questions.
So, Kevin, how surprised were you by that performance, given the fact that you're coming off the big win against the Bengals and the bye week?
Yeah, I think you go into every game, Scott, confident and you watch your team practice. And, of course, I expected us to play better. We didn't. I give them credit. They played better than us for sure. They coached better than us for sure. But, whether we're coming off a week's rest, 2 weeks rest, no week's rest doesn't really matter.
In terms of injuries, can you give us any update on Wyatt, Jack, Jedrick, anybody up front there that was dealing with stuff yesterday?
Yeah, nothing, no major updates on all those guys. I think everybody's kind of day to day, and I expect them to get better throughout this week.
Kevin, back to the defense, you talked about the consistency, and it has seemed like there have been times where some of the issues are different, but also some of those reoccurring tackling, gap integrity, things like that. Have you been able to pinpoint those things when you go back and watch the tape, and why do you think it's been so difficult to iron out?
Yeah, Cam, I think you're exactly right. Tackling, we always have to be better. It's tackling sometimes is technique, sometimes it's getting 11 people around the ball, and then gap integrity. Every defense that is played, don't care man, zone, 3 deep, 2 deep, you have gap integrity, and you got to stay true to that. So we got to work hard to make sure that we're where we need to be, and then we got to make sure we're giving our guys a plan that they can go out and execute and play fast. We've done it at times. So much of run defense is when you're playing fast and you're playing physical. Certainly I've seen that at times, but we just did not do that yesterday and got to do it more consistently.
Yeah, Coach, question about the offensive line. Obviously a tough day for them in the trenches. Is the impact of the loss of Wyatt Teller, and then also did Jed Wills get banged up, or did you just decide to kind of give him a break with the game out of hand?
Yeah, he I think just rolled his ankle. But yeah, listen, again, I'll give credit to Miami. They rushed well. They rushed the passer well. They were stout against the run. We didn't play as well as we have. I mean, that's the truth. Our guys have performed at a high level all year, and we did not yesterday. Again, I look inward and wonder what I can do better for those guys, what we can do better to give them a plan and the run in the pass game that they can play better. That's really what I'm looking for.
And you guys had another strong start offensively with the script that you put together. That's been pretty successful for you this season with, starting fast with nice long drives and getting points on the board early. My question is, have you been able to kind of figure out maybe what's happening later in games, why that success, I know there's ebbs and flows with things, but you're not as successful maybe later in games than when you're on script, so to speak?
Yeah, I think that game in particular was a little different in that it got to 3 scores there soon into that second half. We do script into the second half as well. So that's something that we do. First 15, I think you see around the league, you go over it at night, you walk through it. So it's typically guys have a very good understanding of early plays. And then really the work you put in throughout the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, should be enough to execute throughout the game. So I try not to think of it as really, once we get off that script, we really need to still perform at a high level, both offense and defense.
Yeah, Kevin, just wondering, it looked like Miles and Jadeveon both, they were feeling healthier heading into this game, but they both played about maybe 60% of the snaps, I think about 44 snaps each. So first of all, just wondering, kind of what that was all about. And then when you talked yesterday about, it's up to us, or maybe we didn't give them the right plans, or maybe we need to give them better plans. I was just wondering if you could elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah. So we wanted to, in that heat, Mary Kay, just wanted to make sure we were rolling and rotating on the defensive line as much as you could with that heat. So that was really the plan. When I'm talking about the plan, game plan, and anytime you go down and you get the result that you got and you fall short in any way, you always try to be introspective and sit down and look and say, what could we have done differently? I think that's so important. So that's what today is about. Conversations with all of our coaches. All right, you could do it over again. What plays wouldn't you run? What would you get to? What personnel groupings might you get to? And that's where I think you have to give credit to the other team. They have a game plan as well. They did a nice job. We had a couple things that we tried, didn't work. And then you pivot to the next thing, and then you just got to find some answers.
I mean, I guess I was just wondering, it seems like Joe Woods is taking so much heat out in the, on social media and everything. And you didn't specifically, I just want to clarify, you didn't specifically mean that he needed to come up with a better defensive game plan, right? Or
I would tell you, every coach, myself, we all need to come up with a better plan when you get beat like we got beat. I don't think any of us coached well enough. I don't think any of us played well enough when you get that result. That's the truth. So all of us need to be better.
Yeah, Kevin, I know you were asked about this yesterday after the game, but after the rewatch, are you at all concerned with the effort on some plays? There are some specific ones where guys just seem to give up on a play. Are you at all concerned with the effort from your team?
No, I think the guys are playing hard. I think there's definitely going to be moments in games and warm games where guys' tanks are running low. That's why we tried to rotate guys as much as we did. We got to clean up a lot of things in order to play good football on the road. That's just the truth.
And then a lot, kind of to Mary Kay's question, there's been a lot on Joe Woods. There's a lot, the players, like how hard is that when you are fighting consistency issues, when it's not just one singular problem, specifically on the defense that seems to arise?
Yeah, I think it's we have to play better. We got to play better offense, defense, special teams. Again, when you go down and you get the result that you got, nothing's good enough. It's just the truth. So are people going to be critical of that? Yeah, they should be. That's what being a fan is. That's what we're trying to be, self-critical, because we have to play better. We have to coach better. We understand that.
Hey, Kevin, so with Wyatt Teller, would you put him in that day-to-day category? And, is he kind of suffer a new injury, or is just aggravating the old one?
Yeah, I'd hesitate. He just wasn't feeling like he was, at a percentage where he could help us. He was battling. He could have gone back in there, but I just didn't feel like where he was with that injury. So it wasn't like he re-aggravated. It's not a new injury. Just going to continue to work through it.
We got 30 left here.
Eligible to come back to practice this week. What will that look like for you guys? Obviously, you're going to ramp him up, but also Jacoby needs his.
Yeah, that's the next step for Deshaun, is getting out there and being able to practice. We as coaches can be out there with him now and work with him, which we haven't been able to do. So we'll have a plan for him to start getting ready. But to
come back here in time,
Kobe is the number one priority in getting him ready to play in this game. So whatever we do with Deshaun won't take away from Jacoby's preparation.
You guys are up.
Browns fans, the Kevin Stefanski Show with Nathan and Gerard, Thursday night, 7 to 8 at Razzles on Begley Road in Olmsted Falls, a.k.a. the home of Gibby. Gibby!
Hey, Mackenzie here to tell you that now the best time to get into a new Kia is during our model year changeover.
You guys are down. Sorry about that.
And Mentor.
Hey, Browns fans, Cleveland Browns Daily broadcasting live from the Buffalo Wild Wings in Aurora tomorrow from 1 to 3. Hey,
dude,
our neighborhood.
The East Side exists.
East Side exists. First time ever from 1 to 3. We'll be excited to be there.
Oh, my goodness.
Reggie Langnor will be there as well. On-site autographs. For Z on the autograph requests, let's try to keep it to one line, single file for your autograph requests. Yeah, for yours. I just want one line. For those single file on those,
if there is a person in it, it will.
There will be
by definition, it will be single file.
Hundreds upon hundreds of people there tomorrow in Aurora.
Is this an over/under category? I will take the under.
I would over. There's no number you could give me that I would say under.
Can you give me a little sneak peek? How the over/unders go? I need a little joy.
I haven't looked.
Rough week for me on the scores. Great week for you, Mazel. Bad week for our Browns. I know I did it good on a couple of them for sure.
Yeah.
I did not get the total.
Figured I'd throw you guys a bone tomorrow. We'll go to the East Side.
Thank you.
Nice of you. What did we end up total touchdowns for Tua and Brissett accounted for? 5.5 was the number. So that's under?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. This could be unbelievable. We had no sacks, interceptions, and fumbles.
Nope. We had one sack.
The only thing you got wrong was the actual over-under.
All right, 4-1 again. I can live with that.
4-1. Crushing it.
Good. That brings me joy again.
Yeah.
They credit us with a sack on the trick play.
Which I had to double check at halftime. I'm like, we have a sack?
Yeah. Greg Newsome and Deion Jones each got a half sack on the trick play. And that was one of those where people get mad, and that's like where I would even say to McDaniel, like, what's the point? Why are we even getting cute here? There's absolutely no reason. There's no reason to get cute. Like
I felt like in a way
everything you did was fun. I think the same was just to keep people excited.
I felt like yesterday was it came at our expense, but it felt like peak McDaniel to me. From the standpoint of the sunglasses,
the aviators.
He had those rolling like the square.
I had
aviators.
mine on Brown's Countdown. I was feeling great.
You got to.
I came in just. Did you see my fit yesterday? I wore it in many ways for you.
It's on the DVR.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, you had made the joke about Orlovsky that they'll get somebody else to wear like a hoodie
with the
blazer.
Yeah.
And talk on the toaster. So I wore a hoodie with my blazer, and I had my aviators on down there in Miami.
Was that warm? I mean, it was a
no, because I was like
t-shirt
a t-shirt hoodie.
T-shirt hoodie.
It's great.
Love
it. It was a Lulu t-shirt. It could have been better.
Couldn't have been better. Yeah, those are actually perfect. You get a little air, and then away you go.
Yeah.
I used to have, when I was in the television back in the day, I would do like these live shots. We'd go to all the Bucket games, and they would always set up the live shots with me facing the sun. That way they didn't have to light it, right, because of the shadows. So I'd have to face the sun. I had to do this at the Memorial Tournament all the time, all this other stuff. Oh, you look tremendous. I mean, come on, please. It's ridiculous. I'm blushing. It's too much. And I would say, listen, if you're going to put me in the sun, I'm wearing sunglasses.
Yep.
And they would, because I said, I'm not going to sit here and squint for 5 minutes.
Nope.
Looking into this camera. I'm not doing it.
Mm-mm.
And they would say, oh, you got to get him to take off his glasses. I said, then light it.
Light it up.
Turn me around and light it up, and I'll be happy to. I'm not staring into the sun for 5 minutes. Like, if you're going to set it up this way so that there's no shadows, fine. But I'm wearing sunglasses. That was it.
Yeah.
And the pushback worked.
It should work.
Yeah.
You should get to wear them. By the way, I want to thank the Miami Dolphins for having the worst radio booth in the NFL.
Is it still in the corner?
That would be our vantage point of the game.
Is. So it's still in that same corner. They haven't moved those, huh?
It has eclipsed Washington as the worst.
Let me see that again.
I would like to thank them as well for
you
hot
could
garbage
not be
booth.
further away from the action when it is on the other side of the field.
Yeah. So isn't this the old home plate?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the same place it's always been.
No.
Or did they
flip the radio booth in 2016 was actually on the one side
where
of
the TV is here.
The one side of the stadium, right in the middle. There's some really nice seats, padded seats, and tables and whatnot.
That radio is the middle.
We were right in the middle there. That's where TV still is.
So the TV's over there.
And
are you by the press box?
No.
It was
opposite.
There is a club between us and the press box.
So the press box is where home plate used to be.
Yeah,
it still remains there, right opposite your opposite corner of press
We're
box.
probably down the third baseline, maybe.
If that was home plate,
yes, you would. Yes. Okay. So, but you're in a corner.
Yeah.
Oh, corner of
but like
with
how
a
many
booth
rows
that,
are?
Yeah, it might fit 3 people comfortably, and we had 6.
Yeah, like I'll find the picture Spano took. I had to stand with 1 foot on one stair, 1 foot on another stair, my back leaning on a rail that was coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
Pressed up against that wall with a TV hitting my head twice. I am sore still right here. I got one time
he gashed
annihilated it.
So did I.
How about this? South Florida. You have that situation, that stadium. Joe Robbie opened in the late 80s, which is what this place is. It's been, they've tried to make it good. How is it, by the way? Do you see the money and the improvements? I mean, the overhang's got to be nice.
It
if you're in the
is
stand.
a 70,000, 60,000, I don't know how many thousand people. It's just a club.
Right, but I mean, is it nice now after they throw the money into it?
Oh, yeah, the club. It's all about the club level. It's all about clubs. I would say
that's what he was trying to do.
Half the places in the stadium don't even have a view of the field.
Okay.
They're clubs that don't even have a view of the field. We ran into a video arcade that's also a bar. There's just TVs. There's not even a field view. I'm like, what? The clubs are just crazy nice. And luckily we met someone on Saturday when we loaded in who could help us get out, because we essentially had to walk through a club to load in, and the guy was like, you can't come this way after a game on Sunday. We keep the clubs open 90 minutes after the game.
Oh, they're out there living.
Boy, and they were lubed up.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good day for it. I think it's remarkable and really one of the great, like, borderline heists in, like, city, like, sports stadium history that they built, publicly funded a baseball stadium there. Like, the two most important things, and maybe the Heat have kind of, widgeted in there after the LeBron, Dwayne Wade, all that. But the whole time I was in Florida, and I went to Miami a lot, the two things that ran that town were the Dolphins and Miami University football. That's it. Canes and Dolphins ran the town. And the fact that they gave the Marlins, they built a stadium for the Marlins at the site of the old Orange Bowl, when that site and public funds, if you're ever going to use public funds for a stadium, for God's sakes, build the football stadium.
Yeah.
So, and they threw a lot of money into the retrofitting of this one, but I haven't been there since it's been redone. And I always thought when I was last there in 2014 Orange Bowl, and I thought, ugh.
I have one simple request, and it's not difficult. Let me be able to open the windows.
Oh, that's right. They you can't do that there. That's
correct.
Right. I remember when we were at the Orange Bowl because we were in the press box.
They're fixed. I guess the league came to them after last season and said, you need to change some things. Like, this was for national radio, local radio, whatever the case might be. Their fix was, we're going to put about a 6-inch window at the top of the windows that don't open, that open for you to put, like, your antennas out, your wireless stuff, your crowd mics. Just garbage. Just garbage. I mean, the stadium might be nice for everybody else, and that's what they ultimately want. But from a media, it was just
it's awful.
Awful.
Yeah.
I can't. I want to go down roads that will just get me in trouble.
I was uncomfortable.
Yeah, you packed in there, man. Yeah. It's wild. That's amazing. It's just amazing to me that they built a baseball stadium down there. Crazy day in the NFL again. Started in Germany. The Bucs beat the Seahawks 21-16. Did you guys see, like, for 90 minutes afterwards, like, they wouldn't leave?
Yeah.
And they just kept singing songs, Sweet Caroline and
Country Roads.
Country Roads.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Great sing-along songs. It's amazing.
Go back to Germany. I'm for it. I hope we get to go. I'd love to.
I think the commissioner said the next 4 years there'll be at least one game every year.
I'd sign me up for that. I'd much rather go there and I loved London, England, but I'd much rather go to.
Did you see those plastic pitchers they're drinking out of? Come on, let's
you're
go.
gonna have the time of your life with that.
Oh my God!
Did you see those 3D helmets that guy, the German artist, made, like a printer 3D helmet, and it was like it made on the logo like the pirate ship. It kind of brought it out off of the helmet, so like, and then the skull was like even further out. Let's see if I'll find it.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So if you go all the way back to the old NFL Europe days, like the Frankfurt Galaxy, like those were the most popular places. And as NFL Europe was crumbling, those teams, those German teams, there was like one of them was Rhine something. I can't remember that.
The Rhine Fire.
Yeah, like those operations, the passion there was incredible. And I do wonder, like, I always felt like if there was ever going to be a European team in the NFL, that you had to have a dance partner for London. Like, you can't have just one team over there.
It's true.
So that whether that was 2 London teams or a London team and a Munich team, I think when you start getting into, Southern Europe, it's hard for me to imagine like Madrid or any of those places. But it does feel like Germany would be a fit. That run a little Munich out.
Did you see the pictures before the game? I mean, there were
that's really cool.
There were 50,000 people like outside tailgating before the game.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know if it would ever. I think if you have at least 2 of them over there, you got a chance. You could go over there and play 2, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you have an opportunity, stay for a week over there. But there's an incredible fan base over there. We know that certainly in England. It feels like Germany might even be more passionate. So I thought that was really cool to see. The result was kind of you and I both had it. The Bucks beating the Seahawks over there.
We did.
They like old American men.
They do. Don't hassle the Hoff.
Don't hassle the Hoff. They got it. By the way, when are we getting the kind of the unpacking of this trip from the Hoff?
Later this week. He is literally flying
en route home.
Problem was I had
this morning. He and I were texting, and he was like, "Hey, I'm obviously not going to be on the show because I didn't know when to text him because they're 6 hours ahead." And I'm like, "Is he still awake? Is he still consuming qualities of alcohol?"
I think he had the time of his life.
I know he did.
He was at the airport still living this morning before he left.
Yeah.
All right. So I know that he had that flaming hot take, flamethrower about Irsay.
Yeah, McAfee went in on him pretty good.
Did you see the video that he posted?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's pretty great. It's pretty good.
But Huff doesn't care. He's unencumbered by pure joy.
He is, yeah. And knowing how precise he is with like what he puts in his body and how he monitors all of it, I can't wait to hear like his brain wrapping his head around the week. And then the Irv part of it, the fact that Irv had like a Lamborghini SUV ready for him when he got there, like that whole operation.
How does he even do that, Irv?
I have no idea.
It's amazing.
His whole. By the way, I think if in Germany, that's got to be a Porsche or an Audi or a BMW, Mercedes. Like you can't cruise around in. Yeah. I mean, they make good cars.
Great cars.
In Germany. Like that
German
would probably be the way to go. Yeah, they did a nice job.
Bavarian Motor Works.
That's right. That's very well right. Yeah. So look, I think it was a stunning success to say the least. There was so much going on. You mentioned, let's just dovetail you right into the Jeff Saturday with the Colts. I had this one as well. It just felt like one of those weird things where this happens. So you get, it turns out maybe on a short week when the operation is already going. By the way, right back to Matt Ryan.
Immediately. So
Saturday said, I'm not doing this, man. I'm doing what I want.
So Irsay made Reich bench
Ryan for
Erlinger.
Yeah.
Or Ellinger.
Yeah.
And then in comes Saturday, all week Ellinger starting but actually not. And nobody had it. How did that not leak out?
There was a reporter that we've had on before from Indy with the Athletic, Stephen Holder.
Yeah,
Holder.
Yeah, he's great.
So he tweeted on Saturday, watch out for Matt Ryan. I've heard that he's taken some first-team reps this week.
Okay.
He tweeted that Saturday.
All I had seen was that Ryan would be active and would be, if Ellinger struggled, that maybe Saturday would have a quick hook.
Well, and Holder didn't say he'd have a quick hook or he would play. He just said, just watch for this. Yep. I'm hearing this.
And that's where I tell people, like, everybody, you have this group of people today, probably starting at the worldwide leader in defense of their cohort, Mr. Saturday, that are taking little victory laps over everyone. And now we have tape. Now you have something, and now let's see where the rest of this goes. Because, hey, he got to win. If he wins again, great. Okay, now maybe you got something. But
when you build one of these operations, when you build an operation like this was a team that I thought would win the AFC South.
Correct.
That Indy would win the South, right? So they have talent. Jonathan Taylor was back. Matt Ryan was back in the starting lineup. They've had some injuries.
Clearly better with Matt Ryan.
Clearly. Ridiculous. I mean, come on. So all of those things. when you jump in midstream like this and you can just be an emotional, you could tell how emotional it was. Edgerrin James was on the field. Reggie Wayne's on the staff. Like, you could tell what he meant to be there. And it coincided with the reunion of their Super Bowl team, right? So, like, that, all that nostalgia is around it. The difference between the good and the great, or even the great and the bad in this league, it's not as big as you think. And so all of a sudden, if you get an emotional lift, which is what Saturday clearly provided. He provided an emotional lift for
and
a
the Raiders.
franchise.
Correct. Is it a 1 week?
I was going to get there. Whether it's a 1 week fix or whether he wins 4 in a row, that doesn't necessarily mean that next year it was the right call.
Correct.
Right? So, like, you can get that lift. We saw this from Carolina when they beat the Bucs. They make the coaching change to get a lift to Weish, and they played really, really well.
What about us in 2018?
Right. Greg Williams was incredible.
Yeah.
Immediately everybody was with it. The other part of it is the Raiders are brutal. Do you see the car presser in tears?
I feel bad for him because I know he cares.
Do
He's
not
a competitor.
feel bad.
Why not?
I do.
What are you worth?
What?
Listen.
What was it? What was it? What
You're
was your
worried,
comment?
you're talking about the money part of it?
Wait, look.
Here's the deal, though.
Stop crying. Go win games.
Well, here's what I'm saying, though. And I'm with you on this because it's not – if you do this, you're going to make a lot of money. You're a professional quarterback. You're going to make a lot of money. But if you think about how dysfunctional that operation has been, his entire life, his career, it's brutal. They've cut, 5 first-round picks?
Yes. How many coaches?
Ruggs is in jail? Like, it's
insane.
Debacle.
It's a debacle, but what he's talking about is there are people involved in the organization who have accepted the fact that to reach the highest levels in the NFL, like, it's got to be your lifestyle. And there are people that work to make sure that they're as good as they can be. What I took away from that is that there are plenty of people in that organization who are not doing that work. And it sucks for the people that are, that in the ultimate team game, you can't overcome some of those who are not. And thus you're losing. And it hurts him because, number one, probably hurts him. Like, why won't these guys do what they're pros? Why won't you do what you're supposed to do to make this worthwhile for all of us? And because he knows he's not getting any younger, he's probably staring down like, do they keep McDaniels around?
Well,
I mean, how could
probably
you?
At the point where they keep McDaniel, they keep him. Like, they're either going to go into a full-on rebuild.
It's not hit. Look,
I know you and I know that, but like, you have to do one or the other. Like, you can't keep this up.
Why would you bet on McDaniels?
Well, I wouldn't, but I'm just saying.
Like, you just got whooped by Jeff Saturday.
How much you still owe John Gruden? Are you really going to fire McDaniels after a year?
I mean,
they're 2-7.
Like, the Raiders even had you talk about emotion and you talk about passion. The Raiders had a tweet from Jeff Saturday, the football analyst, from the week before saying that they were terrible.
That's right.
And then he gets named the head coach, like bulletin board material?
Yeah.
And they couldn't even beat him?
No, they couldn't. That's an absolute mess in every way, shape,
I mean,
or form.
Could the AFC West fire 2 first-year coaches?
Well, the guy in
Denver's
got to
gone.
go. He's got to go. Because they didn't hire him, and it's Walton money, so what do they care?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would think Hackett is gone for sure, and that will be the first place that calls Sean Payton, and gets him on.
Should.
And then he'll have to decide if he buys into Russell Wilson or not. But yeah, I would think that would be the case. Justin Fields continues to be good. This is actually going perfectly for the Bears, by the way. This is perfectly. So he's a monster again. 147, 2 touchdowns, 147, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 167,
Incredible.
2 touchdowns through the air. He is single-handedly winning fantasy leagues right now by himself. NBC played him yesterday, and he goes, Dad, he scored 52 points. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure did.
That's right.
Sorry, buddy.
Me and Soon, on the heels of the 2 Justins, beat our opponent just with Justin Jefferson and Justin Fields.
Well, that would do it.
We also have Travis Kelce and Gabe Davis and DeAndre Hopkins. And
First 2 would have done it. How the heck did you get all those guys? What type of league are you in?
A 12-team league because we're loaded.
You sure are. Yeah, that's remarkable. Historical stuff from him, and it's perfect from the Bears' perspective.
By the way, Lamar Jackson was our real quarterback. I picked Fields up 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Before the game 3 weeks ago. Because I noticed
what was it?
Lamar had a bye week 10.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how my mind works.
Looking ahead.
I'm looking ahead. Who had the best matchup? Chicago against Detroit. Maybe Fields can run around a little bit, fine. And then he's now like, I'm pretty sure we're starting him over Lamar Jackson the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And by the way, our draft is 16 rounds. He's a 16th round keeper for the next 2 years.
The other thing that's pretty amazing,
which is fun
from his standpoint, is they're doing this while losing. So their pick continues to be better and better. Here are benchmarks set by Fields this year. Most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in the Super Bowl era over a 5-game span. Only quarterback in the Super Bowl era with multiple rushing touchdowns of 60 yards or more. 2 longest TD runs by a quarterback in Bears history. Only NFL player to have 2 touchdowns rushing, 2 touchdowns passing, and 100 yards rushing in a game. Most carries reaching 20 miles per hour in the NFL this season, per Next Gen Stats. Leads the NFL in rushing yards by a quarterback. He has 749 already. Tied for the NFL lead in rushing touchdowns by a quarterback with 6. Pretty good. Can you imagine him in San Francisco? Kyle could have just picked him. Could have just picked him.
It's crazy. Yeah, they've got to be kicking themselves.
Patriots could have picked him. Kyle's what I wanted.
Guess what? Hold on. Kyle, take it one step further, shall we?
Please.
Kyle could have picked him and then used the first-round pick from this year to get Tyreek Hill.
That's right.
They got 3 picks from the Niners.
Yeah.
One they used to move up to get Jalen Waddle. The other was used to get Tyreek Hill, and the third was used to get Bradley Chubb. So the Niners could have Justin Fields at quarterback, Tyreek Hill at wide receiver, and Bradley Chubb as another pass rusher with Bosa if they just drafted Justin Fields.
Yeah, because they picked. When was their original pick that year? Was it when they picked Waddle? What or when the Dolphins picked Waddle? Was that how that deal worked? They traded with the Dolphins up to get him?
They moved up.
So
and then the Dolphins
Waddle was picked like 7th or 8th?
In 6th. They went from 6th to 3rd.
Oh, he could have just sat there and had him and then kept all the bounty.
He could have sat there and he could have sat at 6, had Fields, and then traded this next year's pick for Tyreek and then the following year's pick for Bradley Chubb. Oh, I wish I had brought that up to my dad. He'd have loved it.
Gosh. Send that.
I think that's better off to bring up when he's not in your living room. I feel
what
like.
a treat to have Pedro. A lot of 17, 14 picks for him.
Can I tell you what's so great about him?
Yeah.
One thing. Okay, their flight today left at 1:40.
Okay.
What time do you think they left my house for the airport?
Do they have a rental car?
Rental car.
10 a.m.
Returning at the airport?
Returning.
What time did you say?
1:40.
1:40? So I think my dad and your dad have a lot in common, even though they have nothing in common. My hunch would be, I think Gibby's probably right. I would imagine it's somewhere around 10 a.m.
9:30. And at 9:15, he's like pacing the house. So there was the.
What's he gonna do?
Hold on. There's a dusting of snow.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm coming home and I'm talking to sweet Miss K, who has been. I was in Miami, so she was with them all day.
Yeah.
And it was great. They had a great time.
She's
doing
work.
Nice brunch. Her mom came, and then they were making dinner and whatever. And she's like, "Your dad is freaked out about the fact there's a little snow. He wants to know, like, should he be out there with like cups of thermos of hot water, pouring it on the windshield? Like, how's he gonna get this snow off his car?" I'm like, "Is it? There's no ice.
Right.
Turn your windshield wipers on.
That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Let the defrost run for a couple
And then
minutes.
so he asked her that night. She gives him the proper answers. If anybody's listening, this morning he asked me like 3 different times. Like, okay, but what do I do about the snow on the car? I'm like, I touched it. It's powder. You'll just turn your car on, and the windshield wipers will brush it right away.
It's over.
And it's over. And he's like, "Are you sure?" Like, and he asked me about the water. I'm like, "You'll crack your windshield.
You can't do that, man.
You can't do that.
Can't do that, man."
And he's like, "Are you sure?" So I'm like, "You know what? Let me get a brush." And I was like, "Watch." You're all good.
You're safe.
Safe. You're ready to go.
Pal. That's great.
And then he had an unbelievable moment. So our driveway comes down, and it does like there's a turn, an elbow turn. And obviously, like the Amazon driver had a tough time with it. He ended up taking out the light. We watched his attempt to back out of the driveway. It took about 15 minutes. Because he kept getting to the grass and he couldn't get it, and we were dying. And Sue's in the front seat, sees us in the window watching, and we're dying laughing. She's dying laughing. He's getting furious. It was like a perfect exit.
Didn't he
and
drive
then we gave
much?
him, yeah, but I don't know if it's like I don't know.
Just didn't have his wits about him. Just wanted to get the rental car back. Wanted to get to the airport.
We
and be at his gate.
We gave him a Bronx cheer when he finally got out of the driveway. It was a great moment. Yeah.
Fantastic.
was like, I hope you guys really enjoyed Cleveland Hopkins Airport. Just
Long time.
Spending plenty of time there.
It's the worst. It's just terrible. New way to cheer on your Cleveland Browns with the help of your favorite four-legged companion, Barking Backers, presented by Milkbone, the Browns' newest club for pet parents worldwide. Sign up today at barkingbackers.com. Barking Backers, the fan club for dogs. Go, yes.
Update. We have been sitting near the gate for 30 minutes. They claim that the crew is driving the flaps, but no one visible working on anything. They had better make up that time of the year. He's got an hour connection.
Can't wait till you're picking them up at 3:30. And by the way,
got it right.
No, I think he's on the plane
tomorrow.
So?
No, they'll disembark. And the best is tomorrow. You're like East Side. I don't have to leave the house. I'll just go right to B-Dubs. No, you'll have to go to the airport to drop them off,
6 a.m.
and then come back.
Oh my God! I like how you call that the best part. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Rumpke Waste Recycling, family-owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, you'll become part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more. Obviously, a very disappointing result yesterday down in Miami. We covered a lot of our grievances in the first segment here. We will go inside the locker room, though, and hear from some of the guys off of a tough one. Tough one to stomach. They played in it. Let's start with Joel Bitonio on his message to the locker room after the loss.
I mean, we have to, first and foremost, we have to own this game. We have to go look at it and make sure we're, ready to play and learn from mistakes. Everybody had mistakes today that they have to own up to and get better from that. But we got to come together as a team. Like, when you're traveling, you're all you got. And so we got to come together and try and find a way to, be one of the better teams in the league next week.
Yeah, the thing that I think is going to be challenging off of that message from Joel, and certainly his intent is the right intent. But when you say, like, what's your message to the locker room after a loss, this will just be about pride now for a couple of weeks, and it'll just be about competitive spirit and that type of things. And, I mean, we got a long way to go here, brother. We're 3-6. We got we're half of a season still ahead of us. In the old NFL, a half of a season left.
It's trying to find a spark the next 2 weeks so that the last 6 games are more than just what can we see that gets us excited about 2023.
Yeah. That's why, to me, 4-7, you could harbor some hope of roundabout ways.
You have a chance to get to 10-7 at
4-7. Right. You have a chance. That's it. I mean, it's not a great one.
No,
you'd
have to do something.
Remarkable.
Not shown any capacity to do.
Right. But at least, I mean, hope matters. It does, and 4-7 allows for that. Here's Greg Newsome on the defense's frustrating performance.
Oh, for sure, it's definitely frustrating. When a team can run the ball on us and do that successfully the whole game is very tough. It kind of throws out some stuff that you can possibly run because you're so focused on stopping the run. So it's definitely frustrating, especially coming off, I feel like, 2 of our best performances of the season, and coming in this game and playing poorly. It's not a good feeling.
No, it's not. And you were hoping to build some momentum, because I actually thought in the Ravens game we played really well. So it was a couple of games back-to-back where we were headed in the right direction, and then it goes the other way. Let's go to Miles on this one, because I think this kind of dovetails into what Joel's talking about, what Newsome's talking about, and now Miles was asked on the energy in the locker room before the game. Here's Myles Garrett.
It doesn't matter if you're ready to run through a wall if it's in the wrong direction. So we really need to just focus in a little bit more, and that's what we're going to get back to doing. We have that kind of energy, and we're ready to attack. But everybody's got to be focusing and going all in the right direction, all on the same page.
Is there anything to that, or is that just when you say everyone's not, you can't run through a wall if it's running in the wrong direction?
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. Does that mean like people don't know what they're supposed to do? Or is it sometimes I think these guys, your post game, you got 100 mics and cameras and all of this stuff, and somebody asks you a question and you're trying, it all just kind of ends up word salad. I don't know how to read what that means.
There was energy before the game. I don't think he's saying, because I think the question was asked because, remember, they said, we had this great energy before the Bengals game. I'm sure they had the same energy. They just didn't execute. Against the Bengals, you had excellent game plans and excellent execution. This week, obviously not great game plans, poor execution. Poor, blowout loss. Excellent, good win. That's the NFL.
Yeah.
That's the NFL. More often than not, I think we do get good game plans. It has been at times, we've had some issues. More offensively, absolutely more often than we get great game plans to execute. And can we execute them? That's a different thing. Do defenses, overcome by winning one-on-ones, especially in the pass rush, change things, dominate the line of scrimmage? That's different. Defensively, it's been, I think, a mixed bag. And at times when we had pretty good game plans early in the year, we had awful execution in critical moments, which has cost us. And then there have been a couple games where we've had no answers, And that's the thing. We've been blown out twice. We're 3-6, but you could sit here and be like, we could still be 7-2.
Mm-hmm.
And it just comes down to execution, clutchness, moments. We were actually going well on that second drive, and then Nick Chubb fumbles, and it's almost like the first bit of adversity that this team encounters, and it's okay, we're not going to be able to overcome that. It's like we scored, they went right down and scored. I mean, boy, did they. They went right down and scored. So we come out, 4 plays, 53 yards, 2 minutes, 47 touchdown. They come back, 10 plays, 84 yards, 6-minute drive, and they go ahead and score a touchdown. And then we're getting it. We're moving the ball very well. Let's see, 1 first down, 2 first downs, 3 first downs. We converted 3 first downs. At that point, when he fumbled, that was our 12th play of the drive. We were at the Miami 34. And he, uncharacteristically coughs the ball. First time he lost a fumble all year. And it kind of goes back to even last year, right? Remember, everything's going great against Kansas City week 1. Nick Chubb fumbles, and it's almost like, well, if Nick Chubb's fumbling,
he has no margin for error. Nick Chubb has no margin. You're right, though. I think that is a characteristic of us, as a team in general, especially this year, that we do not, if things go perfectly, then you have us against Cincinnati. But if there is a hiccup along the way, I don't know that there's the intestinal fortitude to battle through it and to be mentally tough enough to get through it.
No,
it feels
because
like when it happens, it waterfalls. I mean, that Jets game was disgusting how that happened. My God. I mean, I don't want to relive that, but but all of those things mattered, right? The same thing happened in the Chargers game. It's like one little thing turns into 12 things.
And big things. And it was that fumble. Our defense actually did a good job after the fumble, limiting them to a field goal on a short field. And then we get the ball back, and then on 4th down, we don't convert at the Miami 42. So it was almost like back-to-back turnovers. Then our defense actually, at the Cleveland 14, does a good job. They get a stop right there. Delpit and Kunasha come and get on 4th down. And then 3 and out, they score, and then it just felt like at that point it was over because they scored it. They did.
That 3 and out after the stop, that was the one.
Well, because here's why it was so bad. We took the ball over with 2 minutes and 8 seconds.
Yep.
And you're only down at this point 10-7.
10-7.
So you're like, all right, we're going to go in the half either tied, ahead by 4, or we're going to go into the half down 3, which is fine.
In NFL circumstances, that should be impossible to be down 10 in those circumstances.
And instead, we go incomplete, 2-yard pass, sack. They call their first timeout. We punt it. They return it to their own 47, and they go boom, 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 boom. Let's see. Complete pass, incomplete pass, complete pass, complete pass, complete pass, touchdown. And so then now you're down 17-7.
It's over. It's done.
And then they double up, come out, they score, and now it's 24-7. And then that was it.
As I was watching it 17-7, I'm like, too much. That's done.
It felt like it.
That swing that you just went over, that 3 and out, them going down and scoring 17-7. It went from, okay, this is the script that we have to follow to win, right? We got to keep it to a certain amount of points. It's got to be low. We have to be able to run pass. We can't have to chase the game. All of those things went away at 3 and out, 17-7.
And then, you're done. And then it was 24-7.
But you knew it was, didn't you?
Of course.
I knew it was. I knew they were going to write down and score.
But that's early in the third quarter. It's
now
now a 3-possession game.
So
you're
you
cooked.
Throw it. You got to be.
You get a field goal. And then they scored again. Now it's 30-10. And they missed the extra point. 30-10. And that was it.
That's it. That's the game. It's 17-7. That's it. Because that's our margin. Our margin isn't big enough to not be able to capitalize it in those situations.
No, and for them, after we get the field goal to make it 24-10, and you're like, okay, can we get a stop? We score and make it a one-possession game. 13 plays, 77 yards, 6 minutes and 19 seconds off the clock, and they scored again. Good night, Ari.
Yeah, and that's it. Elk & Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk's a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We'll have a little fun with the MVP race, our top 10 teams. Now, remember, still a lot of season left here. We will get into all of that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Well, there's nothing quite like tailgating touchdowns and Twisted Tea. It tastes just like real iced tea. You know why? Because it's made with real brewed tea. Cool, refreshing with 5% kick of alcohol. It's Thirst Down and Gold Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted. Hello, Gibby.
I'd like to congratulate you as an influencer.
All right.
Did some things in Columbus recently.
Yeah. Yep.
I'd also like to take the time making some things happen with one College Game Day. And what is happening this Saturday?
Right. That's right. Well, they will be.
That would make you 2 for 2.
It's been a good run. It's
What
been
is
a good
this?
run.
What are we talking about?
Game Day is coming to Bozeman.
Yeah, game day is coming. Montana State, Montana this weekend. College game day going out there. My prediction is Pat McAfee will not leave. I think he's going to stay.
Smart.
He's got all the money. What is it? Spotify or whatever. He's got all that. Or FanDuel. I don't know.
I don't
Get $200 million from
know.
somebody. I think he's going to stay out there. I think it's going to be right in his wheelhouse. He'll never leave. Forecast for Saturday in Bozeman is 29 degrees and sunny.
Oh, man.
So it'll be beautiful. Be cold, crisp, but beautiful. Game day starts at 9 a.m. Eastern.
It's that early
that extra
hour.
hour is going to kill them because that'll be a 7 a.m. Montana. So the sunrise will blow their mind. Like it'll be purple and blues and pinks and all. It's just stunning. But they, unfortunately, are going to have to live in that temperature, and that will be quite brisk. My hunch would be it's usually probably around 10 degrees air temp at 7 a.m. would be my hunch. So it'll be very, very cold. While obviously I have a soft spot in my heart for Montana State, I would acknowledge as even a biased observer of this, the correct location would have been Missoula to do this. Missoula does have it's got a better stadium setup. It's got a better, I think probably a better environment. I haven't been to a Montana State game in 15 years, 10 years or so it's been a minute. But I'm thrilled that they're there. I think they'll treat them right. They run out on the field with 4 horses galloping at Montana State through like the people. So I don't know if any of those guys have an ability to ride a horse, but I think that would be amazing.
McAfee on a horse would be the.
So it's funny. I actually said this morning, so Montana State has a legitimate rodeo team, like a scholarship rodeo team at Montana State. They have an indoor facility for it.
I like it.
Yeah. And I said this morning, look, that's clearly where McAfee needs to go. Like he needs to go to the rodeo people and try to bulldog or something.
Yeah.
And he goes, and I saw the athletic director from Montana State this morning saying that we got to get McAfee over to the rodeo. So we're all on the same page.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, and then are we saying that all the small things is taking off? Is that what Gibby was alluding to?
So we got it done, but it's some of my own arrogance. What I did not realize about Ohio State, and I should have, but I guess I didn't pay that close of attention with all those games I went to there of everything that happened in TV timeouts. Their game script, there isn't anything. There's no room. They honor people
tight.
always. It's tight, as you know. Here, it's probably very similar here. It's very, very tight. So the one thing that is happening with it is that nobody knows when it's coming. So, like, for example, first week they did it in the third quarter.
It's got to be the same time.
And so, like, people are like, oh, we're doing it. And so some did, and then they did it. I think they did it again. They did it again this weekend. But I told, some of the luminaries down there, I'm like, listen, let's chill out. Let's sit this one out. Let's plan this right. I said, the Michigan sucks, I know, is going to be amazing at the Michigan game. Like, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But we really have to build this into the operation so we know where it hits.
Yes.
And for Ohio State game, it's going to have to hit in the second quarter because these games most times are over at half. So in order for it to be a full-throated 110,000, it's going to have to be in the second quarter.
Which kind of stinks because –
Is that what he was talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I was so excited about that.
I just the song should be what spearheads you into a fourth quarter, or if a team is making a run in a quarter. I know it's whole different.
The Renegade operation is the best way to do it, which will go down as the most cold-blooded thing. It's unbelievable when you open the show with Renegade.
Great.
We beat the Steelers over there. God. That was unbelievable. But no, that's the way you got to do it. It has to be like that. And so, but unfortunately for Ohio State, or fortunately, depending, I guess, however you want to look at it, they really don't play competitive games very often going into the fourth quarter. And they have Hang On Sloopy there, too, at the end of the third, so you don't want to step on that. So I think the only chance you have down there for it to be on it is
between the first and second
quarter. sometime
That's
in
a good
there
point.
because otherwise it's going to get swallowed. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I'll tell you, if I talked to a buddy of mine who works at ESPN, I said, listen, this is my one piece of advice for you. You're going to think that the thing to do is to tie in Yellowstone to this show. If you care about what the people out there think at all, don't tie that show into game day, because most of them are like over it and they don't like what's happened to the state because of it.
Do you feel like if they could get Costner on there though, people would not?
He really has no ties to Montana. I mean,
Right.
he's got more
What
ties
if they
to
get-
Wyoming.
Who is the guest picker going to be?
What
I mean,
if-
you should be the one to
clearly.
fly in and do it.
I don't know that I have.
What if they get the guy who's like the real deal guy that ends up in the bunkhouse? That's like the book
Lloyd?
of bunnies, Jimmy. Yeah, Lloyd.
Have Lloyd out there?
Yeah.
And that would be
He's a
appropriate
real
because he is a
Montanan.
Montanan, so he
Can,
would be.
can they get Phil Jackson? Can Phil Jackson be the celebrity picker?
Phil Jackson is not sitting outside in 17 degrees
Like
calling
the
college
Phil
football
Jackson?
games. He's Montana, and he's our guy.
He's Montana.
No,
He's
I
a-
know
I'm trying
that,
to
but
think who else
I
might
feel like
be
that
Montana.
would be down the list of things that Phil Jackson would like to do on a Saturday, just based on my limited
Hey,
knowledge
a-
of his.
a check
I
from
would be-
ESPN could take care of a lot of things.
Because he needs money.
My hunch is, I'm trying to think. So Kilborn is now if this would have been 15 years ago, Kilborn would have been right in his
perfect.
wheelhouse. But and I think he's probably trying to rally it. I saw some of his social media. I think he's trying to have them remember him to go do it, and I think he would crush it. He'd be so fun. He would kill it. But let's ask Connor. Do you know who Craig Kilborn is? Yeah. See, that's
No.
what I figured. I thought young kids don't know who he is.
Have you ever seen the movie Old School?
Oh my gosh. So
But
that's
like,
our problem.
How,
We have to
when did
have
Old School come out? He might have been like 2.
It's one of those. It's
Yeah,
like
but
Fast
it's
Times
like-
or something.
yeah.
You should have seen it by now.
I'd seen Fast Times by the time I was in high school.
Yeah. The other, I don't know who they're going to have from a guest picker standpoint. That's got that. It's either going to have to, if it's a native or if it's somebody who's already out there, or either that or someone who's
Old
been there.
School,
A lot of people have been there a
2003.
long time.
Jesse Tyler Ferguson from Modern Family.
What's his tie?
He's from there.
Really? You know,
Yep.
if it was in Missoula, it would have been J.K.
Born in Missoula.
Okay. If it would have been in
J.K.
Missoula,
Simmons.
it would be J.K. Simmons because he went to the University of Montana. And he's been
Dana
really
Carvey is
pushing
from
this.
Missoula. But,
Yeah, it's
does the
Bozeman.
young
Like,
people?
Nobody in Bozeman. No, the young people have no idea who he is. Nobody. They don't like. This is truly the beauty of college football, though. Like they will capture this on Saturday. Is that like these two teams are both really good in 1AA, right? I think Montana State's ranked 2nd or 3rd in 1AA, and I think Montana's in the top 15. But this state will shut down.
Maybe John Mayer. He's from Paradise Valley, Montana.
Well, that's Bozeman. Like John Mayer, the singer.
Yes.
I've never heard that claimed. Never heard of such a thing. I'll tell you who'd be great. You know who'd be great? Michael Keaton has lived
Yes.
in Livingston for 30 years, and Michael Keaton would be great.
Just watch
on that.
Beetlejuice.
He would be great. He'd crush it. And he's at this point. I mean, he's been there forever. He was there before before it became fashionable. So, I think he would be a good one. And that's a short drive. That's 25 minutes. So he'd be perfect.
Supposedly Ben Affleck has a place there.
No, that's fake. That's the bougie. That's the Yellowstone clubs. They don't want any of that. Stay away from that. Tom Brady's got a place out there.
Tom Brady
Everybody's
has a
out
place.
there.
Jeff
Timberlake.
Bridges?
I'll tell you what. They trot Timberlake out. Shut it down. They're not having that.
So you think
Keaton's
want
my guy.
Keaton.
Well, I think he would make sense. He's at least been in the state for 25, 30 years.
You're pushing back on John Mayer.
Yeah, I don't buy that. That feels like it feels like fake news to me. I feel like I would have known that by now. I've never heard that claimed.
Born and raised in Fairfield County, Connecticut, according to a quick Google.
That seems more right. My guess is your list, Gibby, is people who have bought land out there in the last 5 years. Now that makes sense.
I'm looking.
That makes sense to me. That I would believe that he would be out there trying to do that.
But I am excited to watch it because I think
it's going to be stunning. It will be, from a Vista standpoint, it will be.
Now, do you have
snow.
obligations, or are you going to be shortchanging?
I've had
yourself
all my
on
buddies like, dude, when are you coming in? I'm like, oh yeah, I'll clear my schedule.
I drove to Bowling Green. First
Fly
time
out.
game day I'd ever been to a mid-major was
Yeah.
Bowling Green.
Was it really?
I was living in Illinois. I drove
Had to go
half the night.
Unfortunately, I can't drive there.
Correct. Well,
Yeah.
you could. Your father has proven that.
Right. It just takes 3 days.
Not a Montana native. John Mayer has set his roots in Montana
There you
since
go.
2012.
See, there's all of these. My
He's lived
dad
there
calls
for a
all
decade.
my dad calls all those people invaders.
Mayer credits Montana with stabilizing and centering
Sure.
him
Yeah.
outside of the paparazzi bubble.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, that's
It's a
not
decade.
Yeah, that's.
I like Keaton.
Keaton's my guy. I'm going Keaton. Let's hope so. It'll be fun though. I'm happy for him, and it'll be visually stunning to see it. Hey, Browns fans, skip the chore of laundry to enjoy life, not laundry. Tide Cleaners offering 30% off dry cleaning for the month of October. Be entered to win 4 VIP Browns tickets for an upcoming home game. Just mention the promo code Browns. Visit TideCleaners.com to find the closest location to you. Some exclusions may apply. We'll give you our MVP picks at kind of the halfway point, plus our best teams and most impressive teams here over the weekend. That's coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN.
Yep.
Be part of one of the most passionate fan bases of the NFL. Join the Browns season ticket member waitlist today for the best chance at securing tickets for all home games and future seasons. Don't miss out. Go to clevelandbrowns.com/tickets or call 440-891-5050 to reserve your spot today, my friend. I'm upset. I feel like that this, for a lot of reasons, I feel like this stadium hurt you.
It did hurt me. I believe that it did. My back is.
I think it physically harmed you.
The worst that it has been in a long time. I had to stand and be twisted the whole time because I had to stand with my body sideways, so there wasn't room for me to stand
normally
facing the stadium.
How's that possible in a National Football League?
He said their PR guy came in and apologized for how bad they didn't do something about it. Knock down a wall and combine.
And I don't want to take it out on the people that work there because they seem to go over and above because they know how big a hassle it is for everyone. Now, our spotter does some national work for networks when they come in, TV and radio, and he's from there, and he said there were 4 stadiums that got issued warnings from the league after last season that they needed to improve their media situation. Like, that how they have things set up is not going to work. The Dolphins just blatantly refuse to change it or fix it. Maybe that's why your owner's suspended.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's a few other reasons, too.
Right.
Well, their football team's doing just fine.
They are winning, yeah.
And it sucks because I don't know if that fan base deserves that.
I think the only thing I will push back on that with that fan base is you tell me, what was the day like down there Sunday? Nice day?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
82 degrees?
Yeah.
83?
The sun, though, in the shade, it was like 75, and in the sun, it was
101.
110.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you had the option on a given Sunday when it's that warm to go to the beach, go on a boat.
At halftime, I would have liked to gone back to our resort in Fort Lauderdale where we were on the beach Saturday night. It was beautiful.
It's nice, right? So first of all, they're not looking outside at this.
Correct.
Right? So they got it's nice. You go do that. The other thing is the stadium location sucks.
Awful.
It's terrible.
Terrible.
It is awful.
It's always sucked. It's been that way since I don't know the history of why they built it out there. My hunch is they were trying to be between Lauderdale and Miami. But it's it's an absolutely terrible stadium location, and there's no character to it. It's just in the middle of nowhere. So if you are somebody who wants to go to an NFL game and you are in like true South Florida, like Miami, immediate suburbs, or even if you're somebody in the Lauderdale area and you want to come down and you're going to that stadium, you're there all day. And what are we doing? We're standing around a parking lot. Like, there's no juice to the area at all. There's no community to it.
I think that's why they've
There's
expanded
nothing.
the club. I mean, the club areas actually are expanded outside the stadium because there's no bars. There's nowhere else for anyone to go. If you Uber from Miami or Fort Lauderdale,
forget it.
Where are you going?
How are you making a day out of it?
Yeah.
Why would they spend all the money that they did to build that pretty unbelievable baseball stadium downtown for the Marlins and not have?
This was my beef in the first hour.
Correct.
Like when that happened, that's what I said. Like, you tore down the Orange Bowl, which was Miami.
Yeah,
it had a vibe to it. Have you ever been to a game there?
No. I've seen them.
Yeah, I've been to a
billion. It was awesome.
Went to a Florida State Miami game there in the early 2000s. Awesome. Yeah, like it's the skyline, all of it. Like, you feel like it felt like Miami. So you blow that down, and then you go out where they did it. And why the hell would you build a baseball stadium over a football stadium?
That's what
it's a stunning decision to make.
Make it both, but the economics of a baseball stadium versus a football stadium don't make any sense to me at all.
Make no sense. And so to do what they did made no sense. And so there's no character. You think about from our fans' perspective. Regardless of weather, throw that part out of it. You go downtown, you have a nice brunch, or you go to the Muni lot. And you go hang out and you tailgate.
Yep.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yep.
It's a great experience. It's a collegiate experience, which we're all familiar with and love. There's a community to it.
Yep.
There is none of that there. And I think it's probably this one, like Landover, where the football team is. There's a couple of these left in the league that are just random spots that they stuck stadiums without any thought to the experience of it.
Yeah. And what's crazy is where their basketball stadium is awesome.
Right.
American Airlines on the water. You know, you're right up. You come off the bridge from South Beach back to the main part of Miami, and there it is. It's right there.
So that's something. I mean,
there's
there
hotels
probably
right
wasn't
there.
room to have a football stadium there, but
Sure.
there certainly was at the Orange Bowl at that old site. You could have done it there. I mean, that's where the Dolphins played growing up when we were kids. They
Yeah.
played there. Like, that site had everything that it needed. You know it? It was all there.
And so what's there now?
The baseball stadium.
That's the exact site.
That's the site, yeah.
Let's have a site where we have a football stadium where awesome historic things in football have happened. Let's build a baseball stadium there.
Levitar did a great takedown of basically how that city was completely tricked into that baseball operation and building that stadium with public money.
When you're talking about public money earlier.
Yeah. So that happened, and it sucks because it was to bring it full circle. There are tremendous Dolphins fans. Like, Miami is a Dolphins town.
No doubt.
There's no question. I mean, if you go look at like the people that are on like local television and radio and stuff, and there's a lot of former Dolphins that are in the mix. They are beloved
We had
there.
Leroy
Marino
Hort on
was
the
there.
pregame show yesterday.
They're all You had who?
Leroy Hort on the pregame, former Browns running back. He was on the Dolphins flagship middays.
Yeah. So they have that. There is that community. The two most important things when I were there were the Dolphins and the Miami Hurricanes. I'm sure the Heat have pulled in there a little bit, but it's still a Dolphin. I'm sure it's still a Dolphins town primarily.
My buddies that are down there who I met at Emory who were from the area, monster Dolphins fans, like huge Dolphins fans.
But if you think to yourself, all right, so now here's my day, right? I want to go I'm gonna where am I tailgating? What am I doing? I'm going to go to a parking lot.
And you're baking.
Baking in the middle of nowhere. Why am I doing this? Like, really? Are we sure I'm doing this? Like, this is how I'm going to spend Sunday? Or should I just watch on my TV, which is great?
And you feel like that stadium's become like out in L.A. and SoFi. This is where the visitors come.
Yeah.
There were a lot. Credit the Browns Nation that showed
They were
up
there.
yesterday.
We said it would be. We knew it would be one of those
They showed up big
great
time.
environments. So that's when we were talking earlier in the show about, the improvements that they're trying to make there. In a way, it's lipstick on a pig. There's only so much you can do.
It's beyond.
Yeah.
And the overhang protects a portion of the stadium, even though it's an equal overhang for the whole stadium. It only protects people on the home side.
Angle of the sun.
Yeah, it's all on the visitor side. All of it. And it's brutal. It's so hot in the sun. It's crazy.
To just sit there and bake for 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And for a lot of this time to have bad product. They haven't been very good. I mean, this is the first team they've had with juice since what?
I mean, even that whole
team
time,
like 16 or 17.
It was always kind of it was always kind of a
tenuous.
Yeah, there was even that's why I think like Zach Thomas gets slept on a lot. People don't realize how great he was because he played on a bunch of medium teams. Jay Felder. What was his name? Jay Felder?
Jay Fielder.
Fielder? Yeah, I mean, he was like the quarterback. He was like a little game manager guy. Like, they had a little juice when they had Ricky Williams.
Jason Taylor.
For a little while. A little bit. But they were never – it's not like at those times like, hey, this is the year the Dolphins are going to the Super Bowl.
No.
With Wannstedt coaching them and all that nonsense.
Yeah, no.
They haven't really had that since Marino.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they've been playoff teams. They haven't bottomed out. They haven't picked number one. They haven't been a disaster.
I believe Bernard was with Mr. Marino yesterday.
He was.
I imagine they were. That's Miami royalty.
Yeah, it is Miami royalty.
I believe he was living his best life yesterday.
It is. What they've done in the stadium is try to turn it into like Miami nightclubs, and so it's all exclusive areas. It's all like we walked through one that looked like it could have been a nightclub.
Yep.
That's what the whole place is.
But there are those in Miami.
Yeah, of course.
But the whole stadium's a nightclub. Yeah. I mean, that's really what it has become.
Yeah. Well, look, you got to do with what you got to do with. But if I'm them, I'd pivot. I would have pivoted instead of throwing all that money into that place because it is now. It's crazy because it's a little bit like New Orleans in this regard. The city is so great from a hospitality standpoint because you have so many options that they're still going to get Super Bowls and Super College Football Championship games. They're still going to get all that stuff because people still want to go down there. But much like New Orleans with the Superdome,
they should just reconfigure both stadiums, turn the one downtown into a football stadium and the one out there into the baseball stadium, say this is the deal.
Good luck out there.
Yeah.
We're flipping it.
I don't know anything about what's going on with the Marlins. I have no clue. I can't imagine anybody cares. The whole reason that the Marlins wanted that site was, if memory serves, and correct, I apologize but I'm pretty sure I have this, was its proximity to Little Havana. And they were hoping that if they put a baseball stadium there, that the Hispanic community would rally behind the baseball team. But the thing where they really were disingenuous with the local people down there was that they were going to spend on the roster. And then as soon as they had any momentum, they sold everybody. Giancarlo Stanton, all those guys. They sold them all off as soon as they got the stadium built. And they've been in kind of purgatory since. Yeah. It's a bad deal. It's a bad deal. But it's a good look. There's a ton of football fans down there.
Yeah, they also need to just wear their classic unis.
Clearly.
Just do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
To have that as an availability and to not wear it.
And I got asked so many times, what are the Browns doing? Why are they wearing brown? The home team picks what they wear, and they are not obligated to wear their color. The home team gets to wear whatever they want.
We wore white forever at home.
Yes.
Go look at the pictures from the Bernie era. We were in white all the time at home.
Yeah.
And the reason they do it is because they want us in dark.
Yes.
In
the sunshine.
They want us standing in the sun in the dark.
Yes.
That's why they're doing it.
Yes, of course.
That's the way it works. All right, so much more to come, including a scores for tonight. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans, Cleveland Browns Daily will be broadcasting live from Buffalo Wild Wings in Aurora tomorrow from 1 to 3. Browns alumni Reggie Langhorne will be there on site signing autographs for 1 hour during the remote from 1 to 2. Visit the Cleveland Browns Facebook page to learn more. Excited for this one. We've done a lot of remotes. It's the first one we've ever done
on the east side
in our jurisdiction.
Yeah.
There's never been one over in our jurisdiction, so I look forward to that. That'll be very, very fun. We have a game tonight. You're not on. Can't hear you. God, he just looked at him.
The good news is that Zagura will still be on this side of town dropping his parents off at the airport.
Have you got an update from Pedro?
No, my guess is they've gone then because I haven't heard anything back from him.
Eh?
Let's see. I'll text him. We'll see.
I can give you a score for tonight if you guys would like to partake.
I'm ready.
The Washington Commanders are 4-5 on the football season.
Sure
the Commies traveling to unbeaten Philly. A big NFC East tilt. Finally, ESPN with a game worth watching. Bo.
Is this a Manning game? Do we have Manning cast tonight?
Stand by.
I'm watching Yellowstone anyway. So. I need a break, but
I'm watching Yellowstone too. My guess is no.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Because it's been 3 in a row.
Yeah, I think they'll take a break. I'm going to go 11 is too much. Chase Young is back.
He's not.
He is? He's not?
Not.
This morning I read he was playing.
No, they said because it's like, is there on turf or something? Do they have turf in
now
Philly?
That there's a specific type of turf that everyone's trying to get
the
banned.
slim turf.
Slim turf. They're trying to get rid of all that.
So he will not be back because of that.
Is Heineke quarterbacking?
Yes.
Hail to the Commies. Eagles huge, 29-20.
You're hot. Same. Following you.
Next level's next. We're back tomorrow in Aurora. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
You've been listening.